Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my ChinWag. It is the 15th of July 2022. And once again, I've got another little question or debating point for us. And I want to know, does anybody actually know the answer? Apart from, of course, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that knew that the answer to life and everything was 42. Life, the universe and everything. But does anybody else really know the answer? Gurus, do they know what they're talking about? And self-motivating books, do they really work? These things where people are looking for answers and people will give you the answers, but are the answers really worth the paper they're written on or the YouTube channels in which the gurus tell you, here is the answer, you follow my direction and you'll be okay? Or are they, those gurus, just as vulnerable and eager as the rest of us to make a living and rely on this great number of people who are also vulnerable and want the living, in as much as they'll put out their piece and all these people come through them because they think that they've got the answer? It's the old business of how to get rich quick. Here's the answer. Write a book on how to get rich quick. And in the book, you just say to your audience, once they've bought the book, oh, write a book about how to get rich quick. It's a sort of circle that never goes anywhere. Anyway, going to get onto that very shortly. But before we do, I want to just go through some of the comments about yesterday. So I changed my mind and I said I was happy to change my mind. And I think we all should be in a position in which we can change our mind if we genuinely have changed our mind, of course. And we've got some interesting comments here. I just want to skim through some of them. I'm with you, says Andrew Bradbury, all the way. Something about Boris confuses me. Glassy-eyed. Yeah, you could say that about me because I have a false eye. YSA4 says, I agree. I've been impressed by Kemi. Sean Ginley says Kemi Badenoch's campaign manager Lee Rowley MP says she's a fresh face. Party needs change. Party needs to do something different. And I think that makes a lot of sense. We do need to feel that we're on a new track. Rich M says the party decides their leader. It would appear regardless of what we think, and national leaders only seem to follow the global directives that they are signed up to anyway, often against the interests of their nation, which I think is another true statement. But why? That's what I want to know. I want to understand, why are we heading down this global route? Why is this globalization such an important thing when it doesn't seem to actually benefit the likes of you and me, but only a very small slither of the population? That's what I would like to know. Trev's Travels by Narrowboat says Kemi would get my vote too. Mark, let's see, sometimes I can't read the name here. Mark Kosku says she'll get my vote, but I dare say the branches of the Tory party will make sure she's kept out. We'll find out that today because I think they're having a debate today on the television and then they get their vote. William Burgess says, I enjoy your chats. Thank you very much. That's very much appreciated. Kingfisher Copy says, anyone with jab symptoms, he says, high antitoxicant diet, turmeric plus black pepper, dandelion, milk, thistle. I guess, what is that then? Is that a sort of an antidote to the jab? We know what we mean by the jab. There we go. Give it a whirl. Unfortunately, says Peter Edwards, Kemi is living on Woke Road adjacent to Green Drive. No idea what that means. Absolutely no idea. Sometimes people leave comments which are so cryptic. Maybe they haven't got time. I appreciate that. Maybe they haven't got time. Maybe they think that everybody is thinking the same as what they're thinking in their heads. I always find that difficult. I like things spelled out and not to assume that I know the same as the person writing or commentating. I do like, which is often why sometimes I spell things out myself too much. If you listen to my Naked Englishman podcast, which you can be found at nakedenglishman.co.uk on a daily basis, I often repeat myself because I'm spelling myself out one reason is on these sort of platforms, there's people coming to the platform and watching the stuff new all the time, so they don't know the background. And I feel it's important sometimes just to go over that. It's like when you watch the news and you come to the news and they say there's this war in so and so, and you go, okay, there's a war, but why did it start again? Just remind me, what was the thing? What's it? And very often the newscasters will assume you already know too much, and so sometimes it's. I just think it's worth, in as short a space of time as you can, just to sort of encapsulate what you're talking about. So when you say Kemi is living on Woke Road, I need a bit more than that, because I don't know really what you mean. I'm sure what you don't mean is there is a road, a street that's actually named Woke Road, although it wouldn't surprise me in this day and age. It's probably in somewhere in a suburban London where there is somewhere called Woke Road. If only all the woke people lived on Woke Road or Woke Town. Maybe there's a town. Maybe we could have a town. Woke Town. That would be great. Glenn Derwitt says, I think a lot of the seemingly ridiculous signs that we see, this is where we're talking about the signs and being directed and pushed about by people who want to give us guidance all the time, are there so that people won't try taking firms to court when they fall and injure themselves. They're just covering their backs. I think you're probably right, but is it really necessary? That's my point. So that was that. Flappy Goose says that Badenoch says some of the right things, but these things are only responding to the obvious. She never says why people are speaking such insanity. When you dig a bit deeper, you'll find that she voted for Theresa May's fake Brexit, and her husband is high up in the Deutsche Bank. Okay, so I haven't dug deeper. I've taken her at face value. I have not had the time to do that. She is acting in a role to make people a traditional mind accept more diversity, and it's working. That's not what I was accepting, was more diversity. She seemed to be, and as I mentioned before, I'd seen her pop up over time, batting away the woke lot and the green agenda lot, and that side of things, and the Black Lives Matter stuff, when she was answering people in Parliament like, I can't even remember her name, she's so awful, but you know who I mean, the one who can't do mathematics terribly well. How many policemen was that? Yes, you know who I mean. I can't even bring her name to... Signs of old age, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even old. That's the weird and wonderful world that we live in. Shirley Lynch says, yes, too many signs, and sometimes when I was reading a sign, I say to myself, what does it mean? I know, what does it mean? Spell it out, man, spell it out. The Tory party will never vote for an individual from an ethnic minority group to be the leader of the Prime Minister, says Sir Roy. And that's probably true. It probably is true. And as I said before, I wanted somebody from... It's not so much that I was anti-ethnic people from an ethnic minority. I wanted somebody who was British for the British Parliament and had traditions in it. But I was prepared to change my mind, and that's what I was saying. Martin says, you need to wake up, Richard. They are all controlled to spin the globalist agenda. Politics is pointless now. It always irks me, because I never quite know when people say, you've got to wake up. I am awake. I'm here. I'm here talking to you. This is not me just sleepwalking. Somebody else told me, I've deleted it because it was a stupid comment. They said, engage your brain. Well, of course we've engaged our brain. People use these pointless expressions, these vapid expressions which mean nothing. Engage your brain. You have to engage your brain just to get out of bed. So, when people say that, wake up, Richard, I am awake. I am awake. Look, this is me not being awake. That's me not being awake, okay? Sorry, Martin, but I'm just saying. He says they're all controlled to spin the globalist agenda. Again, who's controlling them? Where is this control? Is it in a secret bunker in the middle of nowhere? Are we watching a James Bond film in which the Bond villain is there with a big cat? Where are they? Is it Klaus Schwab or whatever his name is? His name always reminds me of some cleaning materials. Get this lovely Klaus Schwab cleaning material. You can get your windows and buckets looking gleaming with one of these globalist. Anyway, anyway, there we go, on and on. Thank you for the comments, though. I do appreciate them, and I'm not skilled or witty enough to make them into something hilariously funny, so apologies for that. But I'm trying. I'm learning my trade as you go, and you've only got to start at the bottom of the heap, which is where I am, and work your way up. And that's what it's about. I am awake, by the way, just so you know, in case you was just in case you were watching this and thinking, oh, look at Richard again. He's fast asleep on our screens. What is he doing? Oh my goodness! And he hasn't engaged his brain. What an outrage. Here we are watching this stuff. You don't have to. You really don't. So my question now is, does anyone know the answer? Does anyone know the answer to things? What do you make of gurus? That's the thing. Gurus and these books. When I was young, impressionable, I'm still young and impressionable, so that some people may know. There's always somebody older than each of us, isn't there? Apart from the oldest person in the world, and then I suppose they pop their clogs. I don't know where they pop their clogs. Probably in a little basement somewhere, or maybe in a travel lodge. Who knows? Anyway, the point is, when I was young and impressionable, I've lost my track now. Stop it! Stop doing this to me. When I was young and impressionable, I used to read a lot of these motivational books, things like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, and Napoleon Hill, I think it was, The Power of Positive Thought, and various books. Some sort of became a bit, I don't know what, esoteric, are they? Some a bit, sort of almost biblical in their nature, but without mentioning the God factor. Some of them giving you super natural powers. Harry Lorraine, How to Develop a Super-Powered Memory. Anybody remember that one? Very good, actually, with the mnemonics and counting and using a whole different system of... let's see if I can remember it now. Te, Noah, Ma, Rai, Law, Cow, IVB, Toes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Harry Lorraine developed this style in which you're supposed to be able to remember everything by tagging things, especially lists and things like that. Anyway, there were a number of other people who do these sort of memory things. But does anybody know the answer? These things were all about, the power of positive thought, and you can develop your life and you keep yourself going and all of that. And one of these books sold millions. They sold millions, and there's so many of them. And yet you look around and the world seems to be in sort of dire straits. Have they worked? Why haven't we not got an army of people powered up by these wonderful books that tell us that you can do it? You can if you think you can. And yet it's only, 20% of the population who seem to sort of really get on and survive. And the other 80% seem to sort of fall by the wayside or are still struggling. I don't quite understand it. I have watched, in the process of making these YouTube videos, lots of YouTube video gurus. You do, don't you? You watch the gurus. What's the answer to get those millions of hits? How do you become the number one thing? Or even just enough to make a living. That would be good. Enough to make a living. How do you get enough views so that you can pay the bills? That's, so you go to these gurus and they tell you all these things. And then after a while you start to realize, actually, and you try out the things and they don't work. And you go, hang on a minute, I did everything you said and it doesn't work. But it doesn't matter to the guru at that point, because they've got your money or they've got your view. Those people who say, yes, you can make $1 million if you read this book. And you go, wow, okay, I'll buy the book. You read it and you don't make $1 million. But it doesn't matter to the guy who wrote the book, because he's already got your sale and he's on to the next one, and so on and so forth. So my question is, are they any good? Do you believe them? Does it really work? Or is it just really down to individual common sense, luck, and a little bit of skill? What do you think? I'd be interested in you. And if you've got some books that you recommend for life, to get you through those hardships in life. I remember one book, which I did read. I can't remember I think it was the wife of Napoleon Hill. I'm not quite sure. And it was called You Are Not the Target. And this is where, the idea is that the boss has had a bad day, and that he's going to explode at work at some point. This was the argument in the book. I read this when I was like 18, 19, so it's a long time ago. But the idea is he gets up, he gets on the wrong side of the bed, he treads on the cat scratches him, the dog has thrown up on the floor in the kitchen before he leaves, he goes to work and there's somebody's keyed his car before he even gets to the office, and so he's beginning to sort of get like that. He gets in and the door, he haven't got the key to the lock, or the person who's supposed to open the door for him, or the coffee is not quite right, and eventually he gets to his desk and he's sitting there and there's more bills than there should be, and the productivity isn't as high and he comes out into the office and there's somebody whose tie is just that little bit off, his little bit askew, that little tie, and he suddenly blows up in front of everybody else and tells that person what he thinks, and that poor guy or girl, whatever it is diminished to nothing until the point that he then storms off, and that person then is like, I can't cope with life anymore, goes out onto the through the window, onto the windowsill, and just flings themselves off. And the answer is that person should have read the book, because it was saying, you are not the target. There's all these other things that have boiled up in this person's life, and you happen to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it is interesting to sort of have that in mind when somebody's shouting at you. Think, well, maybe it isn't me. Maybe when they're pummeling their fists into your face and your nose is sort of widening as far as the motorway from hard shoulder to hard shoulder, that actually I'm not really the target. Although, as that person is laying those fists into you, you clearly are the target at that precise moment. But don't worry. Don't worry, you're not the reason they exploded. It doesn't really help, though, does it? That was the point. I put the book down and I thought, well, okay, so I'm not the target of people's anger or their abuse or their moans or their groan. I'm not the target of it, that's fine. But I'm the one getting it. And I just thought that was a very odd book. You're not really the target. So, I think half the thing about that was that you're supposed to go, there, don't worry, I forgive you. It's fine. Don't worry. You've just taken out my other eye. You've bent my ears into cauliflowers, but it's okay. So, gurus, do they know their thing? Do they really know anything? Somebody once asked me if I would be a guru. Because I had done some mime. I went to mime school, and I was asked, would you go and teach mime and be a sort of like a guru? What's the other word that they say when people look up to you and they go, oh, you've got to be this person? I can't, again, another word I can't think. I'm not awake, you see. I'm not awake. I know the word, but I can't think it. Mentor. It came to me in the end. Mentor. And is mentor a bit like a guru? Is it? You're sort of like mentoring somebody? I don't know. Anyway, I was asked, and I thought, well, don't know. I feel it's a big responsibility. You're sort of guiding somebody on how to do something. No, I'm happy to give you some advice, but I wouldn't say I was a guru. Not a guru or anything. Don't follow my advice. Use your own common sense. That's what I would say. Anyway, if you've got favourite books that have guided you, that you think, actually, Richard, you're wrong. They do work. These people have something to say. I want to know about it. What books should I be reading for life, the universe, and everything? Apart from Douglas Adams, what should I? Where's the guidance? What's going to help me take this channel and my other channel to the very top? Why should people watch? That's what I want to know. So bung them in the maybe I need to wake up, and perhaps I need to engage my brain. Maybe that's what it's all about, and I have yet to learn how to do it. Possibly it could be it. Gurus, are they any good? Does anybody know the answer? Answers on a postcard or in the comments below. Thank you.